I feel the need for speed.
I am your father. I'm Batman.
I'm Spartacus!
Bond. James Bond.
Life was like a box of chocolates.
I'll be back.
Are you not entertained?
There's no place like home.
Good morning and welcome to Stonewater Church's online service. Today at every one of our locations, we're in a series called At the Movies, and today's movie is Jesus Revolution. Now, I would love to show you this movie and talk to you through this movie just like I'm doing at every one of our locations because we're talking about God and we're talking about opening ourselves up to God and we're walking through the whole movie, but I can't because of copyright reasons. But I want to give you a mini message this morning, and then we're going to end with a time of worship so that we can stay connected no matter where you're watching, whether you're on vacation, whether you're at home, you couldn't make it today. Just know this, we want to keep you connected to our church. So today, our big idea is this. Open yourself up to God and let Him change you. Open yourself up to God and let Him change you. Now, I don't know about you, but there are different times in my life that because of a hard heart, because of woundedness, because of maybe even pride or selfishness that I'm going through, or maybe because of biases or prejudices in life, or may just be the hurt or busyness, I do the opposite. I don't open myself up to God, and as a result, there's no real change that's taking place in my life. But the opposite is true. Every time I open myself up to God, God changes me. That's what the Jesus Revolution movie is all about. See, Jesus Revolution is about God working in a group of people. It's actually two groups of people. It takes place in the setting of the late 60s, early 70s, during the Jesus movement. Time magazine called it the Jesus Revolution. It was when God was working in the lives of a rebellious generation that many people called hippies. Yeah, that's what we refer to them, hippies. They were people that were, their life would be characterized by sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And nobody expected at the time that hippies could be saved. And that's exactly what happened. They opened themselves up to God, and God began to save them. Now, here's how God worked. God actually worked through believers that opened themselves up to God as well. See, the church at the time was very closed and was very opposed to people with long hair and tattoos and earrings and nose rings and a rebellious lifestyle coming into the church. Matter of fact, before the Jesus Revolution, everybody at church wore a suit and tie. They were called squares because they were squared away. After the Jesus Revolution, though, church began to look more inside like the brokenness outside because they opened up their heart and they opened up the doors to the brokenness in the lives of people, and God began to change them. Matter of fact, some of the things that we do today as a church are a result of the Jesus Revolution or the Jesus movement. The phrase "no perfect people allowed," the phrase "come as you are," the phrase "a church for broken people," that's all a result of what God was doing through that movement. A lot of the men who've poured into me, that have mentored me, that have coached me, became followers of Christ during that movement, or they were a part of that movement themselves. And it was incredible to hear, to listen to some of their stories and to watch this movie because it really was a work of God through a specific generation. The Jesus Revolution was probably the greatest movement of God throughout the United States in the last 100 years. It was incredible. So here's the question though. How do you open yourself up to God and allow Him to change you? Well, let me show you a verse. This has become one of my favorite verses. 1 Peter 3:8. It says this: "Finally, all of you have unity of mind." Okay, so this is This is Peter, and he's challenging his readers at the end of his passage. He encourages them to have unity of mind. This is what you see in the movie. Sympathy, in other words, join people in their suffering. Brotherly love. And then here's our two ingredients that allow us to open up our heart, open up our lives. A tender heart and a humble mind. If you want to open yourself up to God, it's going to require your heart to be tender and your mind to be humble. Sorry about that. I'm learning how to use my TV. A tender heart and a humble mind. I don't know where you're at today. Maybe there's hurt in your past that's caused your heart to be cold. Or maybe there's some things, maybe even successes that you've experienced where your mind has become prideful. I know that happens with me sometimes. And sometimes I want God to work in my life, but because my heart is cold or my mind is prideful, God's not at work. So I want to encourage you today, open up your heart by asking God, make my heart tender, and open up your mind by asking God, make my mind humble. And in doing that, God will open you up and he will begin to change you. You know, a time that God normally begins to work in my life is a time of worship. See, worship is when we just pause and we pour ourselves out to God and we worship God, but it's also a time that God speaks to us. As we wrap up this online service, we're going to wrap up with a time of worship. And in the song, I encourage you, no matter where you're at, you may be on the road watching or listening, and if that's where you are, or maybe you're at home, I would encourage you to worship and open up yourself to God and let him change you. Let's worship.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I am held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I will sing. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire on my darkest night. You are close like no other. I know you as a father. I know you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. Every voice, let's sing. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been faithful.